Don't look now. It's another 70 mile per hour podcast. All right. This was supposed to be a vacation. I don't understand what's happening. I don't know why there's more episodes while I'm not here than when I am here. It feels like a little strange. But I wanted to do just like this episode because I feel like every summer we do like a little kind of summary recap, and we hadn't really done that this year. So I thought, well, I'm making a drive, running around doing some errands the day I have to leave for vacation. I put a couple 70 mile per hour podcasts together for the fine folks out there. Can you tell I love this? This really, I mean, I just, we talk about all the Howard Stern stuff and everything like that. And it's just like, I empathize with the guy because it's when you do this and you love it, there's no reason to ever stop. But I really do need a break. It's funny. I told myself I wasn't going to do this. I was like, I'll pre-record a bunch of stuff so nobody has to, so we can still have some shows that'll be fun. And then like 2 weeks ago, I was like, I really need to take a break from this. I was like, I gotta just clear my head. It'll be better for the podcast. I was telling myself. And then I had to go and grab something, and it was like a little ride back and forth. And I thought I could crank out 2 episodes in that drive. And so here we are. So that's the deal. Um, but we're here. Don't forget, Monday the 18th, the great Erin C will be hosting a true crime podcast right here on our little channel. So stick around for that. And then on Wednesday, she's going to do like a recap, fun, take questions, and all that kind of stuff little episode. So there's details all around all our social channels. Make sure you guys hit the little bell notification on YouTube to get notified of those shows when they go live. Don't miss that. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. I know everybody loves the true crime stuff. Erin is just like a mastermind at it. By the way, if I put in a tenth of the effort, a hundredth of the effort that Erin is putting into this one show, into any of our shows, we would be the biggest podcast in the world. It would just be so much bigger. But she's really like super passionate about it, and I'm really excited about it. I'm gonna watch it as soon as I get back from vacation because I can't wait to see what she covers, and the mystery around this little true crime plot is really really good. It's years in the making, and Paul's all hyped up about it and everything. So I'm excited. I'm really excited when everybody can connect over something. I just passed like an old vintage sign store. We have a bunch of those out on the eastern end of Long Island in the Hamptons. Why do I love an old sign so much? What broke up here in my head that just I don't know why. Like if you put me in front of a yard and it has all just old vintagey signs, I can spend 4 hours just looking at all those things, wanting to buy them, not having any place to put them. I don't know. I just love old signs. I have a joke that I used to make all the time, like farmers markets. There would be that wood sign guy. I was like, this is like crack for people. I used to say corny white people. I think I kind of still stand by that. But it's like we can't fucking resist a fucking wooden sign that says something kitschy that we could hang in our house. I don't see that from my non-white friends. I hope I'm not. Frank is probably dying right now. He thinks this is a racist rant. I'm just making an observation here. You know, uh, all the white friends I know, the Italian people I know, they love that shit. And all my friends that are not Italian or white, you know, you wouldn't. They look at that stuff like, why is this fucking hanging in your house? And then when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, yeah, why did I buy that? I don't know. It felt like a good idea at the time. At the time, I really connected with, home is where the heart is, and thought I needed to look at it every single day. But now that you bring it up, I'm going to take that down immediately. Anyway, lost you on a rant there. Point is this. Summer 2025, I feel like, is the least identity summer we've ever had. Meaning, every summer there's like a song of the summer. There's a movie of the summer. There's an album of the summer. There's a book of the summer, a streaming show of the summer. And for maybe possibly a myriad of reasons, I don't think that we got that this time around. Now, it could be me. I am getting old. I'm in my early 40s. Thank you very much. So maybe I'm just not like cool enough. But can you name the song of the summer? Comment below. Throw a comment in of what like the song of the summer was this year, because I don't feel like we had that like mega hit that no matter where you went, a club or a friend's barbecue, or just, it's summertime, windows are rolled down, people are blasting music, you just kind of hear it everywhere, kind of a song. I don't think we had that this year. I don't think we really had like a movie of the summer. Now, I'm going to default to Superman because I love Superman, huge Superman guy. And I love the movie, and it was I think the biggest superhero movie. And I know Fantastic Four came out too. I don't know how well that was received. But again, doing the podcast, I do check on these things for storylines to see if it's something that's like worthy to talk about. And I don't remember hearing like Fantastic Four is crushing box office numbers again. Like I didn't hear that. Marvel Universe is back. I haven't heard that stuff. Maybe it was. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Now, I was mentioning this to a friend of mine, and he said Superman was not the movie of the summer. It was Minecraft. And I remember taking my kids to Minecraft. I thought that was the spring. And maybe it was early summer. I don't know. It probably was early summer. So maybe that was the movie of the summer, because there definitely was a Minecraft craze. And again, I try and look at this from the perspective of like, all right, I'm a Superman fan. Obviously, Superman's going to be the movie of the summer for me. Or my kids are super into Minecraft, so obviously that's going to be our thing. It's more like I try and look at it from like, what's everybody doing? Like, for instance, Barbenheimer. Remember Barbenheimer? Like that, Barbie and Oppenheimer. That was a summer where those were the movies of the summer. We didn't have a movie of the summer. We had two movies of the summer. And Barbenheimer became the terminology. And that was the thing that summer. That summer was, it was that. It was Barbie and Oppenheimer, and what was better and what did you like better, and, all that stuff. And then who's going to win the award? Like that dominated the summer conversation when you're talking about movies. I don't know if we had that this time around. And like Chapel Roan last year, and the emergence of Sabrina Carpenter, and some of these, like I call them Taylor Swift babies, these young singer songwriters that are not being fit into a mold, like because Taylor does country, like she starts as country and then just decides to do pop, and now it's like Taylor can do whatever she, chill pop and whatever. Taylor can do whatever she wants now, and it's going to be a wild success. She's going to sell, 3 billion records and sell out stadium tours, and that's going to create babies. That's going to create the music industry trying to emulate that. It's not an insult to anybody. Obviously, Chapel and Sabrina are their own people and shit like that. But I think Sabrina did open up for Taylor. So she's really born in the likeness of Taylor. It's what comes with the territory. It just comes, the Beatles come out and then everybody tries to sound like the Beatles afterwards. Shit like that. It's not an insult. Gotta say that for my liberal friends, because then they get all uptight. But I don't know if we had like a song of the summer or an artist who emerged this summer. I struggle to think about it, and I'm still listening to music. I'm listening to new music. I'm listening to to what's out there, on pop radio and Spotify and shit like that. And again, I haven't heard talk or seen articles of, oh, you got to catch so and so, they're on the rise, or it's the summer of Sabrina, or shit like that. Like, since Taylor Swift left the touring circuit, have we had a concert of the summer? I would say the closest we've got to that, because again, when Taylor was touring, that was huge. And it's not even just like the young pop artists. Even like when like Elton John was going on his big 3-year farewell tour, there was buzz about it. People were talking about it. The closest we got to that was the Coldplay concert when they outed those cheaters. You know, we've had a cheating scandal of the summer. That would be the Coldplay CEO bit. We had a cheating scandal of the summer. That we had. We definitely had that. But outside of everything else, I don't know. Excuse me. There hasn't been like a food craze thing. Although I'll say that the closest thing we're getting to a food craze, believe it or not, Dubai chocolate is still a thing. Like, I can't believe that that's still going hard. That's going strong. I feel like dirty soda is emerging. Dirty soda seems to be emerging as a thing, which I'm really kind of surprised about. And I'll tell you why. Dirty soda, for people who don't know, is like when you put like milk or creamer or syrups, mixers into a soda. So it's like a mocktail for, it's a non-alcoholic thing too, because I'm like, I like to put something in soda. It's called whiskey, and sometimes when I'm feeling like I have a little bit of an alcohol problem, then I put rum, because I'm like, alcohol, if I was an alcoholic, I wouldn't be drinking rum, right? All that kind of stuff. But it doesn't involve alcohol. It's just like, get a Dr. Pepper, put some milk in it, put like coconut syrup in it, caramel syrup in it, and they call it something. Like, dirty sodas is becoming a thing, and here in New York, we're starting to get like dirty soda trucks, like food trucks that are only selling dirty sodas. And there's a couple of like stores that are opening now, just like dirty soda. So you can tell that's like starting to become a craze, or at least trying to be. I don't know if that's going to lift off. The reason why I say I'm surprised is because I also feel like at the same time our culture is moving towards healthier options all around. With the pop soda there, the soda that's better for you to drink, better for your gut health, all that jazz. Sodas that are sweetened with better sweeteners. Whoop, whoop, sorry. Oh, it's out of control now. Spinning out of control. That was a little exciting. Almost lost all you guys. You know what I'm saying? So like in a society that is moving toward, you got RFK, we're trying to get the dyes out of everything. All shit that I agree with, by the way. I'm Bobby approves. I love that motherfucker. Bobby is my guy. If you don't know Bobby approves, go just search Bobby approved. You'll see the app. That guy, he's got an app that's built to like keep you away from seed oils and all this inflammatory shit that they put in our food that we had no idea. I started living my life a little bit more like Bobby. I started feeling a whole hell of a lot better. I'm a lot less miserable, believe it or not, with Bobby in my world. But there's like that move for healthier sodas and healthier iced teas and less sugar stuff. So it's like we're doing this on one side of it, and then on the other side, it's like, can we put creamer in regular Dr. Pepper and stuff like that? It just seems a little nutty to me. But that's like a thing. But again, some of you are probably hearing about that for the first time. So you're like, that's not a craze. And again, I would agree. It's like an emerging thing. We haven't really had like a summer where it's like we're all talking about this. You can make an argument. It's been a Trump summer. We've all been talking about the big dog in the house. That's been a thing. That seems to be dominating our landscape and our world. It's been the return of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. That's a thing, for sure. That's been a dominant thing. Diddy was holding our attention for a little while, and then that ended, but we haven't really been, there hasn't been like a summer craze or like a thing that all the kids are talking about or doing. I will say this: the terminology the youth has is kind of crazy and out there, and I know that makes me sound like a fucking old man. I'm embarrassed to say it, but it's true. Like, I still don't know what 6'7" means, and the head coach for the Giants said it the other day, and it like put it back on my map. I'm like, oh yeah, what is 6'7"? And I tried to look it up, and I watched a video of a kid explaining it, and he's like, you know what I mean? He kept saying, you know what I mean, and pointing to his head. And I'm like, I still don't know what you mean. And I think, from what I could gather, because I spent 4 minutes on it. I fucking spent 4 minutes. I couldn't. I was about to throw my phone out the window. I was so frustrated. The only thing I could gather is that 6'7" means nothing, and like that's the whole point. The whole point is you just say 6'7" to be like a young wise ass dick and frustrate old people. It's kind of like whatever, I guess, like 6'7", and then people do this. I know the origins of it, like some hip hop rapper guy said it or something, and he was doing this and a thing, and then that just became it. Like, you lift your hands, you put both your hands up and down. I can't because I'm holding the camera with one, but that's like a thing. And then like I saw this amazing video where it was a baseball game, and this guy hits a home run, and the camera switches to the fence to capture the moment that the ball is going to land. And these two kids are in the front row, and they're doing the 6'7" thing, and one of the kids catches the fucking home run ball, and that home run made the score of the game 6-7. Like, that's amazing. How did that happen? Like, that makes me think God's got a sense of humor, or the universe, or whatever the fuck you believe in. Because when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, that's a thing now. That really happened. And I was like, is this video AI? Because ever since Brian the Cannon Bannon told me that the buttered sausage video from Gary Busey wasn't real, I'm questioning everything, including my own existence in the world, which I already was questioning prior to buttered sausage. But I was like, is this real? I couldn't find anything that said that wasn't real. So I still don't know what 6'7" is. I still don't know what Skibbity Toilet is. I'm so fucking out of it. But 6'7", I feel like that's the slang of the summer, because the Giants head coach saying it and everybody reporting on it, and then it getting to all like the dads like me, that makes it a thing. So the summer of 6'7" I'll accept, but it hasn't been the summer of any music in particular. No big tour. Again, movies, maybe Superman, maybe Minecraft, but even that wasn't as crazy as Barbenheimer. You know, like, everybody talked about the return of DC, and the Superman movie is going to relaunch DC, and it looks like it is, which I'm great. And it made 500 million, which is amazing and awesome. But Oppenheimer made $1 billion. There's lots of movies that make $1 billion now. I would say Superman didn't really meet its highest expectations. It made enough money that they're going to keep going with it, and they're going to make a Supergirl movie next, I think, and then another Superman movie and shit like that. I think James Gunn's working on a script, but I don't know, man. It's like, it's been the summer of media deals. UFC signing their big deal, WWE going to Netflix and stuff like that. It's been the return of cable, wearing a streaming mask summer. That's for sure. Disney's talking about bundling other content that's not theirs, basically cable TV. That's pretty amazing. Feels like the old Scooby-Doo meme where you lift up the mask and you find I feel like we're going to lift up the streaming mask and find its old cable TV there all of a sudden, you know. But I think that's the point too, right? I mean, when you look at the media landscape and how much it's changing, that you can make an argument that the media landscape changed a lot this summer, because Colbert being axed was massive. And it wasn't that long ago that Fallon went to 4 nights instead of 5 on the Tonight Show. And who knows what else is really going to happen there. The media landscape is changing. People aren't listening to the radio as much. They're off listening to their own podcasts, which, thanks, by the way. Appreciate that. Remember to like and subscribe. Hit all the buttons. Hit all my buttons for the algorithm. It helps. Um, all these huge deals, the UFC deal and everything like that. Everybody's off on their own podcast. Everybody's off just watching Instagram and TikTok instead of watching regular television. Morning show radio doesn't have the power it used to have. There's rumors that Stern's audience has fallen off tremendously, which I have a hard time thinking that Stern went from 20 million listeners, which is amazing on a daily basis, to 125,000. I just have a hard time believing that. I saw that rumor out there, and I'm not buying it for several reasons. One, Sirius XM, and I know a lot of people who work there, they do not release and they don't give it to anybody. They don't give their numbers to anybody. And for a multitude of reasons, like then you have to do a lot of explaining. I think the biggest reason is they'd have to probably pay their talent more if they found out, who was really pulling in numbers and shit like that. But he's such a big part of that company and really helped build that company. And I know they have Caller Daddy now, and I know they've diversified and gone into podcasts as well for themselves. But I don't know. I don't know if that company survives without a massive anchor like him. Again, I think they've been making moves and preparing for his eventual departure, which he's 71. That's going to come sooner or later. But just to put a cherry on top of this Sunday, I saw an article that Netflix and HBO Max were looking at picking up Stern. I mean, how massive would that be? And I do think we're going there too, by the way. I said this the other day. Replace Colbert with a podcast, with a daily podcast, like what we do here on this show. I think more people would be more open to that sort of a format. Oh, God, I'm looking left. I don't know what my chin looks like right now. And I hate that I even pointed it out, but I know it can't be a great angle. I think because it's cheaper to produce, it's cheaper to pull off, and it's where people's attention is right now. But I think you plunk Stern down on Netflix or HBO Max. People are throwing the HBO Max rumor around because when he interviewed Bruce Springsteen a year or so ago, they put that on HBO Max as like a special. But you look at, Chelsea Handler had a late night show on Netflix once. That ended. I thought that was the future, and I still do. That other comedian, I just forget his name. This guy who talks like this, John something. Frank and Aaron went to just go see him. I love him. He's got like a once a week, or had a once a week show on Netflix for a little while. I feel like they're a little hard and uncommon to do right now, but I don't think they're going to be uncommon for the future. I think Spotify is going to look more like Netflix, and Netflix is going to look more like YouTube. You know what I mean? And YouTube is going to look more like HBO Max, producing bigger productions and stuff. I think we're just headed for a mishmash where everybody's going to try and like get their little corner of the world. I was reading this thing that was so interesting the other day, that it was a guy talking about ESPN. And I've talked about Dan Patrick in the past, and Dan Patrick left ESPN and started his own radio show and is making a ton of money. And Dan Le Batard left ESPN. He's got a podcast and he's making a ton of money. Bill Simmons left. He's making a ton of money. When you look at all the people who have left ESPN and started their own thing, and how much money they're pulling in now, and the fact that ESPN is hiring influencers to bring attention back to their platform, if ESPN would have just ponied up and paid those guys but let them do whatever they wanted, they would be even bigger than they are now. Even bigger than they are now. Because when you look at The Ringer, Dan Patrick, Dan Levin, if you look at all these guys and what they're bringing in, just commenting on sports, that's huge for these outlets, for these platforms. And I think it's the first executives that get that understand, oh, I need to have a bunch of podcasts under my umbrella. And I think like that's where Netflix needs to go. It's like it's not enough that you're producing true crime documentaries and um, you know, great TV shows. You need to also produce something that is discussing those things. HBO has actually done a fairly decent job at this. I could argue that they've dipped their toe in the water because, like, when you watch like the Last of Us or something like that, or they were great with this with Succession. You would watch an episode of Succession, and then at the end of the episode, they'd be like, "Tune into our podcast to hear us talk about this episode of Succession." Like that's how you do it. And Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, all those streaming platforms, they need to start rolling out and harboring podcasts that are in the ecosystem that they're talking about, you know? Have a true crime podcast that talks about all the true crime stuff and some other stuff that's on your Netflix platform. You know, Netflix is doing all this stuff with Peyton Manning now, or Eli. No, I think it's Peyton Manning. They're producing all these sports documentaries. Have a sports podcast that goes into all of this, that is on Netflix and also on all the other podcast networks. You know, keep those things in your ecosystem because that's all ad revenue that you could be adding to your bottom line. I think that's really where the world needs to go. All right, I'm sorry. We went super nerdy on media stuff, but I do think it affects everyday people. Like the media landscape has changed so much. Everything has really become decentralized, and that's why it's not as, you know, easy to pinpoint those trending items of like this is the song of the summer or this is the movie of the summer. TV show of the summer, by the way, I think Hunting Wives or whatever that's fucking called. That's got a lot of buzz. Not enough buzz for me to tune into it though. And Malin Ackerman, I love her. I think she's amazing, but I saw Bethany Frankel talking about it the other day because I do like I like a good amount of Bethany Frankel in my life. So, too much, a little too much sometimes, just like anybody else. This is not a slap against her. I think she's just great. She's like a no bullshit. She reminds me of all my cousins that I grew up with here in New York. Just filled with piss and vinegar, you know. But she's just like that show is so absurd. They go from one extreme to another, and there's all these crazy weird sex scenes and it makes me not want to tune in because I feel like when you're doing that and you're not consistent to story or character line, we talked about this a little bit with the Sex and the City show and why it got canceled. Like when you're not true to character and you're doing things just to get response from audience, those things never last. It doesn't really go well. So Hunting Wise may have some shocking sex scenes for Netflix, but you're not going to hold on to long-term audience that way. You know, you're just not. Not going to happen. So I'm a little like skeptical on tuning in, you know, for something like that I know is like not going to stick around long term. So that's that. As you can tell, I'm going a lot slower now. 70-mile-per-hour podcast coming to an end. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I hope it's been great. I hope I haven't died on the airplane or the cruise ship. And don't forget, Monday, Erin C is here for our version of a true crime podcast. I'll catch you guys.